Strategy.
Everyone's circumstance is completely different, so you just need to book in, have a session, just talk about what's best for you, because it's sort of like what Andy was speaking about in the previous podcast. It's like you hear it all the time, and it's just accurate. Like it all depends on your individual circumstances to see what best is the next step, and that's obviously a big part of what I do as a property strategist.
I think, and I love talking about strategy as well. Absolutely love it. Like I was just so vibing out on it last Friday, talking about it. But it depends on, so it really depends on your comfort levels as well. And like for me, like I want to go really fast, and I'm prepared to take on maybe a little bit more risk than most people because I have a different life situation, in terms of like no family and whatnot. But say if somebody wants to just take it a little bit slower, like instead of like trying to force 3 properties, or maybe you can buy 2 better properties with 170 towards each one, or maybe you just buy one with most of that equity of cash. Or what you could do is you could just stay in the game and just play as a way of like, oh, I've got 340 here, how about I take 140 and just buy one property?
You're getting smart here. Yeah, so that's...
And then get comfortable with it, right?
That's all. Regardless of, even if you wanted to go and buy 3, we sit down, we have a session, and we're just like, well, we need to start with the next one.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you got 1, now let's go for 2. Based on what your borrowing capacity is, we'll have that parameters. It might be like, we have this conversation. I do have this conversation a lot. I've got a couple of clients at the moment. Sam, I've got $1.5 million to spend. Where do I spend it? And it's like, well, based on your portfolio, we need to at least get that comfort level of a few residentials, and then we're looking to those higher, cash flow properties like your commercial, rooming house, things like that. So it's like, well, based on this, let's say our foundation is really strong. I don't buy house and land packages, new product like that, because they just lack in that capital growth prospect.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Go and check out our house and land packages podcast episode.
Go check that one out. And I'd sit there and go, well, you've got a really broad variety of what we can invest in, so let's just go and cherry pick the best market, like into what we can find. So I can't print the perfect property, but let's go and try and find one, and based on that, we present it and go, well, this fits all these parameters. It's in a good growth location, got that cash flow. If you want to get to 3, we need to focus on getting decent cash flow because you need to be able to service that debt. Once you find that asset and you transact on that asset, then you sit back and go, well, you might have, if you've got $1.5 million in your head, you're like, I want to go 3. And you go, cool, well, that's $500,000 roughly each property. We might find an absolute cracker at $600,000. And it's got really great potential, good cash flow. It's very rare find. We can negotiate it really, really well. Then you're like, okay, cool. Well, that's now in your portfolio. What does this now look like?
Yeah, let's reassess.
Yeah, from a financing perspective, and even from like you're going down the buyer's agent route. Like I say to people all the time, like you're coming. This is the first time with us, so let's take it one step at a time because there's so many, and obviously a lot of key part of what we do here is making sure you're talking with the best buyer's agents. And people do, like it's all, you don't know who you're getting in bed with until you're actually in bed with them, right? And there's good people, there's average, and there's poor performance on that front. So, and I often people with the biggest marketing budgets are the worst. There's kind of just a bit of a disclaimer there. I got sucked into this. I love like video sales funnels and stuff at the moment, and like man, there are some people like really encapsulating, like obviously I'm not that great at that, but it's just that pinpoint so many key points. It's a great presentation, it sucks you in, but then you figure out, like I just know because I know what they're talking about, like that is just fraught with danger.
Yeah, the strategy, like, so you've got to think about their intent of what their goal is with their business is to get you to buy, let's just be really rough, like with, say, residential property buyers agents. Their goal is for you to buy 10 residential properties, all at like, maybe not at the 800k range, but like in the 400, 500k range, and buy as many as possibly can, because
they're making 15 grand.
They're making 15 grand a pop, and then also you also you say you could afford $1 million property. Right? They're like, no, buy 500. They might be like, buy lots of $500,000 properties, so you're spread out and your risk is not too bad. But like, that means they're getting 2 deals out of one, right? They're making 30 grand instead of 15 grand from just one deal. So you need to understand this as well. Like, you need to come back, and that's why it's always good to just buy one, come back, reassess your strategy, which is what we like to help people do, because maybe it is just buying 2 resis at the start, or 3, or maybe it is 4, depending on your personal situation. And it'll be a different price ranges each time, and then you might move into another asset type. Like, you need to be very careful.
And the big part I'd say is, like, I get emails from builders, developers offering me, house and land packages will pay you $30,000 to $40,000 for a client that transacts on one of our house and land packages. And then buyers agents in that new space, they're actually also charging people $15,000 to $18,000 in advice and buyers agents fees on top. So this is the smoke and mirrors BS in the industry, is that, like, these guys are getting paid like 50 grand for you to go and buy a property. And that's why they have such great marketing budgets and really savvy video campaigns. And like, it's like, cool, well, let's have a debate about it if you actually really want to, because what is in the best interest of your client? And it's not buying a house and land package on the outskirts of boom. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say that different. In the outskirts of, like, the boonies.
Nowhere.
Yeah, the boonies.